Today we're going to learn how to replace snap-in connectors and also panel-mounted connectors on the TNP528. What you have in front of you is TNP528 with a silver bezel, and you see there's connectors in the front, and there's also a plate that holds these connectors. So we're going to show you how to replace these connectors in case you need to put new connectors in. So each plate has 4 rivets in the corners, so we're going to use some tools to replace those rivets. Let's go ahead and go through the tool list. On the right hand side I have a regular screwdriver, medium size, Phillips screwdriver, medium size, and also a Phillips screwdriver, very small Phillips screwdriver. And here I have a paper clip, a little thumb tack if you need it, and on the left side we have a tool we use to insert the plastic rivets. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to push through the plastic rivet on the front. So if you look through here, there's a plastic rivet. I'm just going to push on the center of it, and it just pushes inside just a little bit. Just like this. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, now that you pushed it and it's not leveled anymore, you can use a thumbtack to push it all the way through, or you can use a paper clip, up to you, whatever you have available in your office. So you just push it through, and the little center piece falls out. The nice thing is you can reuse it if you want to, but typically anything that you will get from us, you will have those rivets included, extra rivets. So I'm going to go ahead and push them all the way through. And I have 4 of the center pieces. So now that you removed it, those rivets are not holding anymore this front panel, so you can easily push it through and remove it by just pushing from the back, okay? It's a little tricky. You may want to push the rivet out first, and that's when we use a little bigger screwdriver. And you're just going to push the rivet from the back a little bit, just to get things moving. Okay. And once you do this, you have now a way to kind of juggle this out. See? And it comes off right there. And it comes off. I cut off the cables just in case, so that just for demo purposes, but it will come out and you can pull the cables out with it. If the cables are tied on the back with a tie wrap, just cut the tie wrap first, and then you'll be able to push it all the way out. Now that it's out, and the cable would be coming through here, you would put it aside and just work on this part. These connectors, the snap-in connectors, must be inserted after the little plate is removed. They cannot be just inserted with the plate being in place. So what I would do, I would remove this first. We'll screw on the side here. And do remember how the plate was positioned before you start changing it, because it will work this way, but it will not work if you turn it around. Okay, so make sure that you turn it one way. And you can see there's a little cutout on this side, and that kind of gives you, that points down. So now that you pulled out this plate, it's as easy as pushing the screwdriver on the side and pushing the connector out, okay? And the connector will come off. And then if you need to put another connector in, just push it in and use a screwdriver or whatever is handy and push it back in. So you can insert it back only vertically. You cannot insert connector with this plate being installed on the front panel. So now once you replace these connectors, you put it back in and secure the support plate back with those 2 screws. And those screws, they have anti-rotation nuts on it, or little washers, anti-rotation washers. So once you tie it down, it will stay there, it will not come off. So I'm going to tie this down here. I'm going to tie this down here. Okay. Now don't forget that you still have those rivets in here, so you may want to either remove them or squeeze them so it can be easily inserted back into the holes. You can squeeze them and then insert the little plastic piece back in, or you can completely remove them and put a brand new rivet that's supplied with each of the plate or something that you need to put in, okay? The important thing is don't over tighten this. It doesn't need to be very tight. Okay, you just need to be, once you feel it catch, that's all, that's how far you need to go. And the reason is because if you make it too tight, it will bend the plate. You want the plate to be nice and flat. All right, so we are ready to insert this plate into the TNP528 unit. Before we do this, if you're going to be using the same rivets as before, you want to partially pull them out. So it's like here, you see how I pulled it out. So if, to do this, you may want to squeeze the rivet together. And after you squeeze it, use a little screwdriver and push it out flat. So you don't want it to be completely come out, but you just want it to be held just like this end, okay? If it comes out, no problems, just pull it aside. But usually, I just leave it there so it's a little bit easier to assemble. So I'm going to go ahead and squeeze it again and use a screwdriver and kind of push it out a little bit. It gives me a nice way to insert it back in. There we go. And I'll do the same thing here. I'll squeeze it together and then just push it out just a little bit. So it's easy to put it back in. There we go. So now that it's ready, I'm going to go ahead and insert it here. And my rivet's already almost ready. So now I'm going to go ahead and try to push them in. Okay, let me position it so I can, there we go. And I'm going to use this tool to push this in, like this. And you can see that it's pushed it all the way in. You can take the one that we pulled out and just going to put it on top here. And then use the tool to push it back in. So now the plate is installed, all the rivets are inside. The last thing to do is to put this little plastic inserts in. If you get the standard rivets with it, then the plastic will be already partially inserted. Or you can easily put it yourself. It takes just a minute to do this. Once it's partially inserted, you're going to use this tool again. And this tool has a little dimple. And that dimple can be used to align it and push it in first. And then you can use the other side to flatten it out and make it flat. So you can't even see that there is a center insert, okay? So let's go ahead and do this here. And we'll also put this in here. We use the dimple side to push this in. And we use the other side, and then we use flat side to make it flat. And once you completed this, your assembly is fully completed and you're ready to go. And that's how we change the connector on TNP528 tabletop unit.